Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, and this is the 3,000th video. 3,000 videos. I cannot believe it. In 3.5 years, I've made 3,000 videos. I don't know how. I really don't. It just sort of happened. And I wanted to take a moment to share with you, not just my thanks, which I sort of just did because I just passed 30,000 subscribers as well with 3,000 videos. That's one video for every 10 of you or something like that. But no, I wanted to share with you what I've learned from you all from doing this, because it's very interesting and I think very hopeful at a time when, the world seems to be going down the crapper and we could use some good news once in a while. And this is what I've learned. This is what this has done for me, and I hope for quite a few of you too. First of all, those of us who are hardcore classical music people live in a little bit of a bubble. We do. And part of it is the reality that the classical music universe is a very small part of the musical universe more generally. But part of it is also, it's one of our own making. We tell ourselves that we are a rare and extraordinary group of connoisseurs. And of course we are. I mean, we're extraordinary and we are rare and we are connoisseurs. But that doesn't mean we need to be shut-ins. There is a world of light and air out there, and I see cracks of that seeping in as I make these videos and as the subscribership has increased and the viewership has gone up. First of all, I made a video a while ago. It's also part of an editorial I wrote called "To Hell with Young People," which basically made the case that the classical music industry spends way too much time focusing on youth and getting young people in and the next generation of listeners and all that crap, and doesn't spend any time trying to lure in those who are people with lots of time and disposable income on their hands, who are the natural audience for classical music. That is true. That is unquestionably true. But that doesn't mean that young people aren't out there. And because the internet and YouTube particularly is such a splendidly democratic medium, there are quite a few young people here, and I am so tickled pink about that. I really am. I think it's marvelous. It gives me a tremendous amount of hope that the classical music world is much larger than we in the hermetically sealed universe of hardcore listener or collector types have been led to believe. So that is, I think, an absolutely wonderful thing. There's a tendency also in the classical music universe to disparage, technology, new things, innovation, new ways of disseminating and approaching the world of classical music. I've never felt that way personally. I don't do that. I detest the way that the classical music military industrial complex markets and sells and packages the product. I think they're just a bunch of morons when it comes to that. But I am all for as many different approaches and ways to get into it as we can dream up. Because, there can't be too many of those. So what's really heartened me in making these 3,000 videos has been the joy that I've seen in younger people or new people. Forget how old they are, just people new to classical music. There are a lot of them, really a lot of them out there. I really believe that. And I think that I've seen it and it delights me. And that's made me think about a few things, because perhaps the one thing that I worry about the most in making these videos is that the approach that I'm taking is too narrowly focused on people who know everything, or people who think they know everything, or we have a general fund of knowledge. If I say, Karajan, and I don't explain who Karajan is, or Bernstein, and I don't explain who Bernstein is, or Argerich, and I don't explain who Argerich is, most of us already know. There are a lot of people out there who don't know. And as a practical matter, I have to walk a fine line between assuming a certain level of knowledge when I talk about recordings and things like that. I just talked about Handel's L'Allegro il Penseroso ed il Moderato with William Christie on Harmonia Mundi. That was the last video. I mean, most of us in the biz know who those people are. We know who Handel is, we know what the work is, and we know who the artists are. But there are a tremendous amount of people who might be delighted by this music who don't know anything about it at all. And I can only go so far in every video explaining everything from the start, because that would make them unwatchable. If I had to define every term as I use it, because I think it may be that people don't know. So it would be an impossible task. So I have to assume that there's a certain level of knowledge. And what that level of knowledge is has changed. My assumptions have changed as I've been doing these videos. I hope that when I make these things, I'm clear and pretty lucid and explain the things that are important to be explained most of the time. But there is a learning curve. If you are new to classical music, if you're just joining this channel or you're joining our community, I think that this is a very safe space for you to be, because I will do my best never to steer you wrong, but so will everyone else here. This is a wonderful, wonderful community of music lovers who are not going to talk down to you. Because if they do, I will delete them and ban them and banish them forever. That's a wonderful thing to be able to do, I keep saying, because I think it's kept the level of discourse at a certain courteousness and civility that you don't always find in the classical music world, that you certainly don't find on the internet and online forums. They can be quite hostile. So I'll never forget, I have to just tell this story, when I started classicstoday.com, and I went to one of those chat groups, back of the news groups in those days, and I thought that this would really be a great thing. And I said, hey, look, here's this new site. It's all free, which it was at that point. And we're doing reviews. Come and have a look. I just wanted people to read this stuff. It was a resource, a free resource. And I thought people would say, hey, that's really great. Sounds cool. Let's give it a shot. What I got was, you represent a commercial interest. How dare you be here? Get the hell out, you disgusting. We know you. We've read your stuff. We hate you. You're a professional. You're evil. You're loathsome. I mean, I could not believe the level of vituperation. Just saying, here, come and try this out. And it taught me a lot about, because I didn't know these things about the internet and the classical music world. I knew from live things and events, but otherwise I had friends. I only had a good experience of music listening. So you're not going to find that crap here. You will not. I guarantee that. So that's a good thing too. So after having done 3,000 videos, like I said, I am tremendously heartened at the level of interest. I mean, I know classical music is never going to be popular music. It's not. It requires a certain level of time, a certain level of interest, a certain fundamental base of knowledge or desire to acquire that knowledge. And there's no way to get around it. There's no way to, and there shouldn't be. I mean, it is what it is. We have to be honest about that. But I'm just overjoyed at the number of people from all walks of life, cranky old farts like me, and much, much younger people, some women. Oh my God, it's exciting that we actually have some female participants as well. That's a rare thing in the classical music business, which I don't understand why, because women tend to be the major supporters of performing arts organizations and attendees at concerts, but not record collectors. So I'm really happy that we have female participants. I'm happy that we have an amazing number of international participants from places that I never would know, never in a million years. It makes me feel bad that I can't do this in like 700 languages simultaneously, that I'm stuck with English. I would love to be able to do this in every possible language known to mankind. That would just be wonderful, because so many of you work so hard to communicate back to me, and you do it in English 9 times out of 10. And I'm so touched by your efforts to do that. I really, really am. Don't ever be afraid that your English isn't good enough, or use Google Translator to do whatever you need to do to be in touch. But I love the fact that so many of you have taken the time and trouble to comment, to participate, and to share in this wonderful thing. Over 3,000 videos. I have no intention of slowing down or stopping. We're going to keep on going till we get to 5,000 videos, or however many thousands, I have the capability to do. We're in the middle of some amazing series, like the Haydn Symphony Crusade. Hint, hint, hint. Please go watch it if you don't. I think it's the most important thing that I'm doing. And we're at as I speak, number 52 is coming up shortly. This has been a thrill for me. And getting to know all of you is not the least of it by any means. What an amazing, amazing world of potential there is in both this medium, in the video medium, in YouTube, the internet, and the world of classical music. I just feel nothing but optimism about where it's going. And I didn't expect that. I mean, classical music people are so much like the artists themselves. We think that we're doing this out of some sort of, moral obligation, and that we are, somehow superior beings because we undertake this penance of loving this music and pretending that, it's so sad that we're just the chosen few and that the rest of the world doesn't care. Well, I think the rest of the world does care. And the rest of the world has the potential to care. And it's not a penance. It's people don't like it. It's because we don't give them the reason. We give them the reason to like it. And there is every reason to like it, to love it, to enjoy it, to share in it. And if I can do my little part to help that happen, I feel absolutely thrilled and honored. And my God, I mean, what an amazing group of people you all are. All of you. I'm totally flabbergasted, humbled, honored, and delighted to be able to do this. And I mean, I don't know how I made 3,000 videos. I mean, just in closing, I just have to say, this is one of those things, when I wrote my books, I've written 15 books, and I sit down and I focus on it and I start typing, and then sometime later there's a book. It's done. And if I go back and think about what I was doing when I wrote it, it was almost an unconscious thing. I mean, all of a sudden the book appears and I can't really pin down the creative process, how it all happens. And that's how I feel about these too. I sit down and I start talking and stuff comes out, and we talk about recordings. And yeah, sure, I think about what I want to do, for each video before I do the video. Obviously, I have to know what I'm going to do, but I have no idea what I'm going to say before I say it. Maybe that shows rather graphically in the finished product, but somehow it seems like this is meant to be for me. And the reaction and the response I've gotten, I think is so rewarding and gratifying. And I mean, 3,000 freaking videos. There they are, and there's more coming, and it's just a delight. So thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. I'm hoping to make more videos than any one of you can ever say that you've seen, because I want there just to be something about everything in this world of classical music. It's an endless source of joy and of knowledge and beauty and refreshment and entertainment. And so we hopefully will have an endless run of videos, at least as long as I'm able. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.